Hello and welcome to Big Num Numismatics. Today I'm going to be discussing what's the best grade to collect when you get into quality versus price. Especially now in today's collecting market, the top grades are 3 or 4 times as expensive as even a half point lower. And if you get into the Uber 68 pluses, those can even be 5 to 10 times what a regular 68 is. So I'm just going to be going over some coins and my thoughts on the grades and the quality you get for the prices. So Walking Liberty half dollars are, I think, one of the most eye-appealing in lower mint states. The contact marks are really well hidden on the devices and portraits. This I grade a 66, but really anything above a 65 you're not going to see very much, if any, in the fields and the sun. So right off the bat, from a short distance away, it looks beautiful, pretty much perfect when you twirl it in the light. It's only when you get into the really small details, her leg with her hand up to her chest, this is where you're going to be in the 66 and up range. This is where most of the contact marks are hidden. You'll see lots of fuzzy marks, and overall, I mean, even a 65 looks much better than even a 67 Morgan. Now, on the Morgans. So, Morgans are a big coin. So these, like peace dollars, there's going to be a bit of leeway in the terms of contact marks, and more value is going to be given on the cheek of the coin. So these are kind of skewed. I mean, an MS-67 has considerable scuffs, not quite contact marks. You'll definitely see them, and they're noticeable enough for most of the time me to pass on every MS-67 to keep. And those typically cost around $1,000. So, really, this is a nice 64, not a 65, but you can see this is an early San Francisco, so it has great luster. The contact marks and really some chatter in the fields, and I mean, the cheek is pretty nice, but I mean, if you turn it right here, you can see we've got lots in this area on the bottom of her neck, and we turn it here, you can see a lot in the way of her eyes. So it really has to do with how you're looking at it and what portion of the light. So this can, a lot of Morgans are, when they're imaged properly, true views, and they're a little touched up, you can really be deceived as to how many there are. And I also like to see on the eagle's chest and the wings, you can see right there, there's some rub, some chatter, and I typically don't like to see that in 67 or above. And you can also see right here, and a little bit over here, you'll have some chatter. Morgans, I think, are extremely expensive for what they are. I think you get the most value with the 80S, 81S, and 82S. They're the nicest, they have the best luster, and they do grade those not more conservative, but they're less lenient just because they come so nice. So you're not ever going to get a huge grade bump just because of the luster or strike. Buffalo nickels, I think, come third in overall grade versus value. This is an MS66. This one I do not think is a 67. This is a very nice 6. The luster is great. The strike is a little lacking, which does keep it from a 7. Most of the time on Buffaloes, you're going to be wanting to see some more detail here and on the leg. I like to see nice thick lines. This is an above average strike, however, but just not enough. And contact marks on Buffalo nickels are very, very well hidden, and most of the time, I mean, even MS65s, there's hardly any. It's an extremely hard metal. To get a nice big contact mark, you really needed some force. So you'll see some very, very nice coins even in MS65. MS64 and below, it's really loss of luster and really weak strike. You'll see early San Francisco Buffaloes in the 30s. Those are going to be completely flat, really no detail, and those are what you're going to see with some nice luster, very few contact marks, but it just doesn't have any detail left. And we can see this is an MS67. You can see lots of detail in the hair, great luster. If we turn it over, you can see nice deep lines on the front leg and lots of detail in the stomach area and the mound, the shoulder area. And there's really no rub here. So you'll see a lot of MS64s, 63s, even some low-end 65s. They'll have some rub on this out-jutting hip. Now there's a big jump between MS66 Buffaloes and MS67s. I personally think an MS67 is worth it just because in the jump to 6 to 7, you're also talking about the strike as well as usually a bump for luster. So I think it's better than just a 64 to a 65 bump in terms of straight up number wise. Second best, I think, are copper coins. So these, especially red-brown coins, usually the toning is what's limiting the grade. Especially large cents, you'll have pretty much immaculate surfaces, even MS62, but it's just lacking in luster. So you can see this one's almost only a 64. I do think it is only a 64, but if you just looked at it, if you took away the color, it would be an MS66. There's no real marks anywhere in the fields, on the cheek, the reverse. There is a cricket inside the slab, which is why I bought this, but the coin just has great surfaces, great luster, but the coloring is sort of getting in the way of the eye appeal and the entire coin. So that's why brown coins are going to be much nicer, I mean, if you get an MS66 brown coin, it really needs to be top echelon quality for them to six it, because usually you're gonna see red just to get up to that. Like, you need red in those upper echelon. So we have Mercury dimes next. These you can get carried away. Even some MS64s are really nice, but you have to be careful of wheel marks and some wiping and album marks. See a lot of dimes have some marks across the cheek. So this is an MS67. I think it's really nice. It's not a 7+, but it is just a nice overall coin. Very eye-appealing. Luster is there. Surfaces are great. And it's well struck. Not full bands. So overall, a 67 Mercury dime is 45 to 80 bucks, in the 40s, depending on which one. Full bands are all over the place, because that's more to do with just rarity of the coin versus actual grade. We have, this is an NGC MS68. However, it is better than the 7 by a large amount. The luster is a lot more, but the surfaces are about the same as a high 7. So this, a 68 Merc NGC will cost between 350 to 500, depending, in the 40s, late 30s. And a 67 being, you know, a sixth of that. Is it really worth it? I think so, but low-end 8s I do not like. I'd rather have this than a low-end 8 all day. Who would say no to 6 different MS67s versus a low-end 8? But if you take this coin with the superior luster and nice color that kind of looks like a PCI, that's when you get into, okay, is this worth it, even though the grade says it. So that's all for me today. This video went a bit longer than I thought it would. And let me know, what's your real grade that you like to pick for value versus cost? And hopefully you had a great day. If you made it this far, thank you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And see you tomorrow.